This is WWE Wrestling Legend Hall of Famer Tito Santana.
This is WWE NXT superstar Lexis King.
And you are listening to the Source Wrestling Podcast. Arriba!
And you're listening to the Source Wrestling Podcast. Long live Lexis King.
You're looking at the best there
Austin
is.
316.
What do you guys want to talk about? I have a lot of things I want to get off my chest. I'm the best. I'm the best in the world.
Let me talk to you. Yeah.
We will rest in
Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. This is episode 23 of the Source WWE AEW All Things Wrestling Podcast with Joe
and
Mike.
Yeah.
And today we are going to drop some gospel on you. The final boss is going to talk to you about Monday Night Raw 325-24. NXT 326-24, and we will end it all with AEW Dynamite 327-24. Let it begin. Let us talk to you. Yeah. We start with Monday Night Raw, and oh, what a Monday Night Raw it really was.
It was great.
Chicago was sold out.
So you know what Chicago
15,000.
means.
Yeah. It means the best in the world. CM Punk, 15,000 plus packed into the All-State Arena on this road to WrestleMania that is winding and turning and flipping, and it is the greatest time in the world.
Starting to come to form, though.
Yeah,
starting to come into form.
It is the greatest time in the world to be a wrestling fan, I would say. Nostalgia aside, this might be the greatest era of wrestling ever. And, you know, that's a hot take or not. Take it as you will.
It would be classified as one of the hottest eras in
this is crazy.
Wrestling. It is the ultimate resurgence.
100%.
And we're here enjoying the ride right now.
Absolutely. We are, the chains are off. We are not.
The talent pool has never been this deep.
Oh, my God. Yeah, it's out of control.
Maybe ever. But the question is, can they manage it all and make it all work?
Right,
and all that
right.
kind of stuff,
And they're doing a good job of it right now, I would say. So we start Monday Night Raw, and it's wrestling has more than one royal family. It's the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, to start the night off to a massive ovation, as usual. And he's
big
on
crowd
his,
pop.
Huge,
Big whoa.
Big whoa. Crowd is huge. Pop is huge. He comes out. He's talking about WrestleMania being 2 weeks away at this point. And, it's CM Punk's town. But, Cody, you would think that, this is a hometown crowd, it seems like, too. And he's acknowledging that that his friend Pat McAfee's out there. He's having everyone acknowledge Michael Cole, which is cool. You don't see that often. And he then goes on this WrestleMania rant here, where he's talking about pointing to the sign. You win the Royal Rumble, you point to the sign. You then lay out your blueprint for WrestleMania.
Listen, love Cody Rhodes. Love him.
Yeah.
Want him to win the title.
We
All
do.
about it. But do I think he's a little hokey and cheesy sometimes?
That's
And a little
Cody, though.
weird?
That's
yeah.
Cody.
Does
Yeah,
he do
is.
some things that kind of make me cringe sometimes? Yeah.
He can be cringe.
But
Yeah.
I love him. He's great. I want him
he's
to
the best.
succeed. I want to see the story finish. I want all that stuff. But I can laugh along the way with
Absolutely.
with you know what I mean? I get the critics. I hear their sides of it sometimes.
The Cody
and I'm just
crybabies.
I get it.
I
get it.
Yeah,
but
he's talking about pointing to the sign and stuff. But before that, I have to mention that he's talking about all the time he spends out there after they go off air, meeting the kids and signing autographs. And he said he does this. He pretends he's champion because the real champion's not around.
Yeah.
That one got me.
Yeah, he definitely threw a dagger at Roman Reigns.
He surely did. He surely did.
He wants to be the people's champ.
We had, yeah, right, and who wouldn't want to be? Then you had a Roman sucks chant in there, and then he's going back to the sign. He's talking about pointing to the sign, and he says he's not just going to point to the sign himself. He is going to ask the entire crowd to point to the WrestleMania sign, which I thought was cool. They showed the camera angle of Cody and the whole crowd doing it, and Cody's now talking about WrestleMania. And he says he took away the chance to have a wank fest with Roman Reigns and The Rock. And, it was his choice. And he's also heading into the biggest tag team match in WrestleMania history with Seth freaking Rollins. And out of nowhere, did not expect this, did not know this dude was in the building. It's the final boss. The Rock shows up unannounced. Usually they promote this stuff. The Rock shows up absolutely unannounced with his badass new final boss entrance. He's got the mix of his
lightning and thunder.
Oh my God, the production there is absolutely insane. It starts off with the If You Smell theme, the Rock's face theme, and then it cuts.
It's more like a dun.
Yes, and then it cuts to quote unquote is cooking. That's what it's called. It's his 2003 heel theme that he's now coming out to, which is much slower and more menacing, and it fits that final boss. Can I just say that the final boss is probably the best version of The Rock I've ever seen? I'm gonna say that now.
It's a good version.
In my opinion, this is the best Rock, the most menacing heel I've ever seen. So he comes out, there's holy shit chants. The network is literally blocking every other word out every 2 seconds, which gets annoying. But when it comes on Netflix, we won't have to worry about this anymore. No more FCC guidelines. So The Rock is in the middle of the ring after, getting a massive ovation even still. And he's just, looking at Cody Rhodes, not saying a word. And then he gets closer. You think, these guys might go at it. What's going on? He just whispers something in his ear. And at this point, we really, really want to know what it is. He whispers something in his ear and walks away. The crowd's booing like crazy.
I know what he said.
We
can save that.
We do know what he said.
Do we save it? Because
we talk about it now. I would say
no. We can talk about it at the end.
Yeah, maybe the end.
We can talk about it. We can bring that back.
Right.
We're gonna bring that back.
Yes. So as of right now, we don't know what he says. We really want to know. So he walks back there, and as soon as he comes through the curtain, there's an interviewer there. Rock, what did you just whisper to Cody? The world needs to know. And, The Rock basically shrugs that off, leaves the scene. And that's how we start Monday Night Raw this week, guys. Very, very big, very intense. The final boss, the American Nightmare, we're all here for it. And before we get to the first match of the night, we have a backstage segment. We are in the Judgment Day's quote-unquote clubhouse, if you will. Women's World Heavyweight Champion Rhea Ripley is with Dirty Dom. She knows that he has unfinished business with his father and would have loved to help out on SmackDown. Mysterio apologizes, and Damian Priest tells JD to handle Ricochet, because he hasn't really been winning at all. JD has been going out there and jobbing it up. He is not winning matches. He tells him to go out there, handle Ricochet. Finn's not looking happy, and he's not looking happy that Dirty Dom and JD are looking like fools against Ricochet. This is the guy that they think they should be beating. But Priest says, not to worry, guys. I have a plan that will really give us the upper hand at WrestleMania. JD then says he has Ricochet's number. Ripley then tells him to just, go win. And Mysterio assures her that, they will do just that. First match of the night. It is the Judgment Day's JD McDonough versus the highlight of the night, Ricochet. And Mike, I don't know if you noticed, but it kind of seems like they're taking the chains off of Ricochet a little bit. What do you think?
I think that Ricochet is a top talent in the league.
Absolutely.
And it's very hard to shape his character.
Yeah.
He doesn't really have much of
it's
a character.
It's the mic skills and the charisma.
But his wrestling skills
wrestling is out of this world.
He could wrestle with Ospreay and probably has in the past.
He has. They had
and,
one of the greatest matches
you
I've ever
gotta
seen.
try to figure that out. And I think with UFC and TKO, obviously involved and things like that, I think they're going to try to find a way to do different things that Vince McMahon wasn't doing.
Right.
And one of which is trying
Take
to figure
that harness
out how
off of him
to get Ricochet going.
Yeah, he had amazing matches in New Japan with Will Ospreay. Guys like that, Takeshita, I believe he even had feuds with. So I'm glad they're deciding to do something with him here. This match was absolutely awesome. They wanted to show you guys that not only can Ricochet go, JD can work too. These guys both had some great moments. It was really back and forth, and after a commercial break, JD and Ricochet are brawling before JD wipes them out with a lariat and follows up with a sit-out powerbomb for a near fall. JD McDonough then picks up Ricochet, but Ricochet fights it off. JD quickly kicks him in the face and lifts him, but Ricochet stuns him with a Canadian Destroyer, and I love that move, especially when it's done right. It looks really, really good. The crowd's popping hard for this. Ricochet heads to the top rope, but Dirty Dom gets on the apron. Of course. He's got to be out there. He's got to, assure a victory for.
Ricochet is crafty.
Yeah, Ricochet. He'll find a way. Mysterio then snaps the top rope to crotch shot Ricochet, and I thought that could have done it there, but the ref then sees this and sends Dominic Mysterio from ringside back to backstage. He's now banned from ringside because he got caught. McDonough then climbs the ropes, but Ricochet knocks him off down to the canvas. JD gets up, but Ricochet crushes him with a shooting star press for the win. And your winner here is Ricochet.
3.
The highlight of the night. Gets the win, and it was really, really an awesome match by both dudes. You could tell they really told these guys to go out there and put on a show. It wasn't
as they did.
It was not a technical, mat wrestling match. This was really high-flying stuff and really, really high-level stuff. Shout out to both JD and Ricochet as well for this match. JD still not looking good, though, with another loss to Ricochet. We cut backstage, and it's none other than the man himself, the best in the world. It's CM Punk. He's walking around with a Chicago Cubs WWE Championship belt, looking good. Then next up, they show the trailer for the Bray Wyatt Becoming Immortal special that they're coming out on Peacock with next Monday, and bring out the tissues for when it's time to watch that for sure. And they actually lit up the Allstate Arena with the fireflies for Bray as they did that, which was a really, really nice touch. Backstage again, it's main event Jey Uso walking around back there, and he's going against Shinsuke later tonight, so he's coming in, he's pumped up for his main event match, and this is we got to note this is the 11th straight television sellout for WWE. They are on a roll, guys. They really are. And just as I say that, we get that static we hear at the beginning of every one of our episodes. The it is CM Punk. Cult of Personality is blaring. Heavy brace on CM Punk's arm as he comes out. He's got that injury going. We cannot forget that. He's not here to fight, but he gets a massive, massive reception from his hometown crowd here in Chicago. He comes down, he's posing on the turnbuckles, he's dancing around the ring. Punk then goes outside and high-fives Samantha Irvin, the ring announcer.
Yep.
He then hops on the commentary table, holds up a microphone, and before he can even talk, you just have a massive, massive CM Punk chant. And he says...
the fans are really loving it.
They're loving it. They really are. I mean, and I'm loving it too. It's CM Punk. He's saying he's got a lot of things he wants to say and a lot of business to get to, but how great it just is to be in Chicago. And he's saying everyone's asking him if he's going to be at WrestleMania 40, and the answer is yes. You can't have WrestleMania in Philly without Phil. Everyone's asking how his elbow's doing. While it's not where he wants it to be, he's not medically cleared, but he says his mouth works, Mike, and he says you can ask AJ. She knows all about that. So they're ditching this PG.
Yeah.
These PG rumors are just getting ditched. And he says, sorry, guys, we're not on Netflix yet. I apologize. So he's saying that he just wants to, before if you told him that he was going to be at WrestleMania and not be on the card, he'd be bummed out. But now he just says he wants to be there. He wants to be around the people, and he's talking about, it's unfortunate that his injury is hindering him from having a WrestleMania match, but he's not going to let that ruin his experience, I guess. He then goes on a tangent on how he's great in the ring, he's great on the mic, even on commentary. What if this match needs a referee? Is there a match at WrestleMania, he says, that needs an impartial referee? A lot of people ask him questions and talk about him. And a lot of people, even if they hate him, they talk about him. And, this is one of the most polarizing figures in wrestling,
Yeah,
not even just right
dicey.
now, and it's about to get dicey. Yes, because as he's talking, and he's cutting this really, really cool promo. He's even calling out The Rock at one point. He says, let's not forget who put The Rock down when he was around back in around 2013 or something like that. And we get Drew McIntyre now. Okay, and this guy is hitting on all cylinders right now with this heel persona and his social media, his T-shirts. Everything is amazing. He then comes out. He sits on the commentary table, Indian style. He's got his kilt on. He tells the cameraman, "Don't film up my kilt, you perv." He's
There's a lot of skirt things going on.
Oh,
that
yeah.
whole promo here.
Yeah, I know. Then Punk then asks him if, McIntyre said he prayed for this. Of course, I prayed for this. And Punk then asks him if he's a Scottish psychopath in a kilt or a troll in a skirt. McIntyre warns.
That was a nice touch.
It was. McIntyre's like, yo, dude, it's 2024. You could be canceled for this. You got to be careful. And McIntyre walks around ringside and says, "This is divine intervention." McIntyre points out to the checklist on his shirt, which includes, injuring CM Punk. And then he takes it off, and he has another CM Punk this shirt underneath it. And Punk then chimes in, which one of the most fire lines that I thought he came out with. He said, "You know what? I never had to put anybody else's name on a T-shirt to fucking sell it." And that was a burn moment, I would say. And then McIntyre comes right back at him, though, dude. It was like McIntyre says, "You know what? For someone who is straight edge, not drinking or doing drugs, you sure spend a lot of time in rehab." That one cooked him. Absolutely cooked him.
Yep.
He's saying he doesn't hate Punk. This is like when it turns into like a Batman and Joker type thing. He's like, "I don't hate Punk. Punk completes me," he says. And Punk tells Chicago then to boo McIntyre and to cheer, who they paid their money to see.
Which works.
It does work, yeah.
At this point, did McIntyre have the grave shirt on?
He did, yeah, because he came out with the checklist shirt,
Yeah.
and then he ripped it off. And he had the him pointing at the grave shirt.
Which you thought would bother CM Punk more, but he looked unfazed.
No,
really, by the
unfazed,
shirt.
yeah. And he had, and
the shirt.
he came at him with that T-shirt line that literally just buried it, in my opinion, instantly. And Drew's saying that Punk is his muse, and that when he's lifting weights, Punk could never lift in his prime. He uses what he did to Punk to just get through that last rep.
He boast
says
about size and things
yes,
like that.
absolutely.
Yeah. But I mean. Then we have Mr. Rollins.
Ah, yes. It is Burn It Down. It is Seth freaking Rollins. The crowd singing his song, and Punk and Rollins go face to face now. There's a CM Punk chant as well during that. Seth welcomes Chicago to Monday Night Rollins. Mm-hmm. And
no one else is even around.
No one else is around. He goes, "Now that we firmly established whose show this is, has been, and will be, if these two children," Punk says, "it can be Rollins' show, but it's his city, and that's not going to change." Rollins says that if they're done trying to out-troll each other, they can get down to business. And he said if the both of them had a single brain cell between the both of them, they would know that they don't get to make decisions for the World Heavyweight Championship match at WrestleMania if you're not in it. So that was a burn to Punk right there,
true. And they're just teasing back and forth on if he's going to be a ring announcer,
do commentary?
a commentator.
Is he going to be a referee?
A referee, and the crowd is like, "Yeah, referee!"
Yeah,
and they're chanting,
everyone
referee,
wants him
referee.
to ref the match.
So I think that's going to end up
I hope that's
being
what
what
it is.
happens. But
you know, at the end of this promo, though, it's Punk then says it's decided. He's going to put a headset on. He's going to sit next to his friends Michael Cole and Pat McAfee and do commentary.
I don't buy it.
I don't buy it either. I think he's getting involved.
Special guest referee. It's gonna happen. It's what the fans want. You know how the WWE is right now with giving the fans what they want.
And they're overly doing it, and I love it. You know, Punk promises to do something that these two guys can't do, make them both interesting by doing the commentary, I guess. And Rollins failed to do that in Punk's 10-year absence, he says. Punk tells them to play his music, and he leaves. Drew McIntyre's not done, though. He's saying Punk's not getting the last word. Punk is obsessed with McIntyre, he says, and watches everything he does on social media. Out of nowhere, Seth Rollins hits the super kick. Boom. McIntyre down. Hits him with the stomp. Rollins gets out of the ring and stares at CM Punk before walking backstage. And another unbelievable segment, guys. I can see why we had to cut match times here, because this was just incredible. Second match of the night after these banger promos. It is Candice LeRae, who's been on a weird, some weird tangent lately. She's going against Ivy Nile. And, this match was okay. The two of them are going at it. It's back and forth. Maxine Dupree gets involved. Candice LeRae punches her off. LeRae then drops down and grabs her knee. She's selling a knee injury now as well. The ref goes to check on her. It ends up not being an actual injury. She just faked the injury. Now she rolls up Ivy Nile, and the ref's not paying attention. He's looking at her shoulders, She then puts her feet up on the ropes for extra leverage and wins this match.
Yep.
Indy Hartwell
looks disgusted.
Yep. She does not want to be...
They're going to break up. Who cares?
Yeah,
I don't know what's
I don't
going
care.
on.
Do you care? I don't care.
It's like we're going to care that Indy Hartwell that has been
oh my God.
tag team with Candice LeRae for 2 minutes.
Yeah, for a cup of coffee.
Cool.
A cup of coffee in the big time. Yeah. So that's the end of that. We're glad it's over. We pan backstage. It is now the New Day talking with DIY. They're saying they don't get each other's names. In the background, though, it's worth noting we can see the Wise Man talking with Drew McIntyre. What are they talking about? What do you guys want to talk about? The Miz and R-Truth walk up to them. R-Truth says this is going to be the best match ever, man. It's the New Day versus DX. And, Truth is being Truth at this point. And he says he told JBL that Awesome Truth will be on commentary. Miz says, dude, it's not JBL. That's Pat McAfee. And then R-Truth goes like, oh, bless you. Gazoon tight. He thinks he sneezed. They walk off. Oh, my God. R-Truth, please protect this man. He is doing some absolutely great things.
Give him a belt.
Give him the tag team titles.
Give him a belt.
And that leads us into this next match. They're going to be guest commentators for this as well. It's a tag team match. It is DIY, Tommaso Ciampa, and Johnny Gargano versus the New Day. Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston. And this was a pretty good match, I gotta say. DIY and the New Day, they have worked together before, and it was apparent here all the moves inside the ring look really, really smooth. And there was one point in this match worth noting. If you remember, they are looking at R-Truth doing the commentary out there, and out comes the Judgment Day. This is a problem. This was Priest's. This was Damian Priest's plan to get some leverage for WrestleMania. So now they're all surrounding.
Out they come.
Yep, they're surrounding R-Truth. Okay, and R-Truth is looking at the camera right now and saying, "Go to commercial. Go to commercial. Can we go to commercial?" And obviously, it did not happen. Judgment Day.
Well, this was after they beat up everybody in the ring.
They beat up everyone in the ring first. Yes.
I mean, let's not.
That's a given.
They literally annihilate everybody in the ring.
Yep.
And you're kind of thinking the whole time, you're thinking, oh, if R-Truth was involved in this, I feel like they wouldn't be beating the crap out of everybody in the ring. It would be a little more even, or they would have had a numbers game going for the good guys, or whatever the case may be.
Wasn't the case.
But they end up going over to the announce table to R-Truth, and
he's terrified.
He's like, cut to commercial, but they don't.
Nope.
And then he takes.
He ends up getting a razor's edge.
Himself.
He got a razor's edge from Damian. They all got a whooping.
You gotta keep. It's the only way to keep Judgment Day legitimate for everybody.
Exactly,
Is
and they gotta still
moments.
look like a threat. Finn Balor comes off the top with the coup de grace. You know, it's really, really looking good for the Judgment Day. They're finally standing tall, and don't forget, all three of these teams are going to be in that six-pack challenge ladder match at WrestleMania 40. This match is a no contest. Backstage now, it's Jackie Redmond. She asked the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes what The Rock said to him earlier tonight. Rhodes says it's not something he wants to repeat, but it was a promise that The Rock cannot keep. And Rhodes walks away. Do we talk about what The Rock said right now?
Not yet. We got to wait to the end.
We'll wait.
At the end, we'll know more.
Correct.
At the end of this segment.
Yeah,
and then we're almost there, guys.
Yeah, we're getting
almost
there.
at the end of
This
Raw.
is a crazy
so
Raw.
Just hang with us, and you'll find out just exactly what he said.
Absolutely,
because we know what he said.
We know things. We're the Source Wrestling Podcast.
We are the source.
We wouldn't be the source if we didn't know.
The sauce.
We're the sauce, if you will. If you're a New Englander like us. Next up, it's Andrade El Idolo versus Giovanni Vinci. And I noticed they dropped the El Idolo from Andrade.
They did.
They announced him as Andrade. I like the El
I feel
Idolo.
like he's been that way since he came back.
They, with the theme song El Idolo, I don't know. Andrade is cool. That's what he was when he was in WWE before. And it's worth noting that he was not supposed to go against Giovanni Vinci. He was actually supposed to go against Ivar of the Viking Raiders, and he wasn't medically cleared to compete. I did not see a reason why. I don't know exactly what happened to Ivar. We hope he's good. But Giovanni Vinci steps in.
Yeah, I don't know what was up with that, honestly.
Yeah, Adam Pearce announced it earlier in the day, and they didn't give a reason. So before this match now, we have a backstage interview with Kathy Kelly, and she is with WWE Intercontinental Champion Gunther, the Ring General. She asked him for a response to what Sami Zayn said about taking him down at WrestleMania 40. Gunther then says he would have answered, but Zayn stormed off like a child. He's saying he was full of empty threats. His words were empty. Deep down, Sami Zayn doesn't believe he'll beat the Ring General, he says. The people of Chicago don't believe it. And if they don't believe it, Gunther doesn't think Sami Zayn can even beat Bronson Reed, who he's wrestling tonight on Monday Night Raw. And she asked Gunther if he'll be out there to scout Sami Zayn during this match, and Gunther reiterates that he doesn't think Sami Zayn will beat Reed. He never says whether he's going to be out there or not. You know?
I mean, Bronson Reed, he's a force. He's a force.
The Tsunami is a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of the old school Avalanche and others like that. You know what I mean?
Yep, 100%. And now it's Andrade versus Giovanni Vinci, and these guys also had a surprisingly good match. I've obviously never seen them work together before. They both looked really good, and even props to Vinci for having to take this match, last second pretty much because of Ivar's, not being medically cleared. But
he did pretty good.
He did. After
it was pretty back and forth until the end.
It was, yeah. And after a commercial break, Andrade slams Giovanni down. Andrade just hits these chops. It sounded like a gunshot went off. There was one of them that it was just unbelievable. So hard he chopped him. And Andrade chops the chest and blocks a kick before hitting multiple dragon screws to take out the leg of Giovanni Vinci. He follows that up with a clothesline. And it's still like they're going for the gusto. These guys, you can tell they both really, really want to win this match. Vinci annihilates Andrade with a very stiff chop, and he stuns him with a reverse elbow, does Andrade. Andrade then hits that double arm suplex into a neck breaker, and they call this finisher the message.
Yep.
It is. He hits the message and wins this match. Your winner by pinfall is Andrade. I'm still calling him Andrade El Idolo because I like it.
Hey.
There's your winner. Backstage now, it's Women's World Champion Rhea Ripley. She's walking backstage alongside Dirty Dominic Mysterio, and we are going to hear from her
so
next.
Confused about where they're going with her.
I know.
So confused.
I know.
I don't know if she's just trying to put Rhea over a little bit more than she already is, or if she really wants another run.
Yeah, with Becky, it's uncertain for sure. She just wrote and released this book. She wrote and released this book. She's touring heavy for the book. Anywho, Rhea Ripley comes out and addresses WrestleMania 40 now. And Dirty Dom is with her. Rhea has a brace on her left wrist, which is worth noticing, and it's notable. She's saying we're less than 2 weeks away from Mania, and she feels like Mommy's not getting enough attention. Mommy needs the attention. She's always on top. She said she feels like someone isn't giving her their full attention, and Becky Lynch continues to fight week after week. Ripley could have gotten her attention by attacking her during one of her many matches that she's been having, but she decided to be respectful and not get involved, let Becky fight her battles and, not kick her ass in the middle of her own match. And Rhea is saying she's getting impatient because WrestleMania is just around the corner, and Lynch should be paying full attention, to Rhea Ripley. She's the most dominant women's champion that we've seen in so long. And then Dom grabs the microphone and tries to speak. It does not happen. He's hit with immediate boos, and then Becky Lynch comes out. All right? And the crowd's really happy about this. Becky Lynch comes out with this weird hat look that she's doing right now. It's like, hello, fellow kids.
Yeah.
She looks a little too old to be.
She had the leather backwards hat.
Yeah, man.
That she's been touting.
Hey, she's the man. She can do what she wants.
Yeah, doesn't bother me.
No, it's funny.
I don't know if, I don't know where her shelf life ends.
Neither do I, because you see her in the ring and she can still go.
Yeah, but how much can she keep the one character going?
I know.
For that long, you got to have some changes in your character.
And there's the man, then there's the last kicker, and she's had quite a few. She's reinvented herself.
It's really
a few
the same
times.
thing with a different name.
It is. It is though.
And that's what I'm saying. There's only so long
How
you can do
much
the same
longer
thing.
can you do this?
When you got so many new, interesting characters, even Nia Jax takes away from it because she's interesting. She's different. She's a force. She's like an Andre the Giant of the women's division.
Yes. So they're having this heated promo battle now, Becky and Rhea. And, Rhea absolutely gets really personal and says, she starts talking about Becky and Seth's little daughter. And she's like, I want to see her be the one to call me mommy.
Yeah.
And that was like, oh, okay.
She was like, if you ever.
Yeah, she was like, this is your one pass.
One pass.
If you ever talk about my daughter like that, you basically won't live to talk about it again. And, now they're jaw jacking in each other's face. And Dom, this was unbelievable. Dom gets in the middle of it and gets hit with the gnarliest punch square on the jaw that I have ever seen.
It was a nice punch.
He must have told Becky, listen, Becky, just really crack me. So, dude, Dominic took a hell of a punch.
He must have said, you can
just give it to me. He sat there and ate it up, and he flies outside of the ring. You know what I mean? And Dominic's done now. He's out, and now
clearly
they're just going at it now. Ripley sends Lynch shoulder first into the ring post. She's checking on Dominic at ringside because he's all fucked up. And Lynch then leaps off the steps and attacks them both, takes them both out. Referees finally separate them. Dom pulls Rhea away. Lynch breaks free again, runs over Dom. Dom just should not have been out there at this point. And continues to brawl with Rhea, and more referees run down to finally break that segment up.
Yep.
And we go backstage now. It's Sami Zayn. He's walking around backstage. He sees Chad Gable talking to Maxine Dupree. Gable then wants to talk about what happened with them last week. Zayn says he's fine with it. He wants to make Gunther, the ring general, eat his words now. Gable tells him that Gunther wants to ruin Sami Zayn's focus, and that his focus needs to be on the task at hand and get his head out of his ass, is what he told him. Chad Gable's trying to warn him, and Zayn says, you know what, Gable, you're actually right. WrestleMania is 2 weeks away, and Sami Zayn knows what he has to do tonight and appreciates Gable even saying that. They shake hands, and, they're kind of back on good terms right now.
It seems that way.
Yeah, so it seems. And quote-unquote big Bronson Reed makes his way to the ring.
And here we go.
He is going against Sami Zayn, none other than Sami. And this match was a fight for sure. they're getting their stuff in, everyone's doing their signature spots, and then the WWE Intercontinental Champion, the Ring General, Gunther, makes his way out down the ramp, and Reed grabs Sami Zayn, but Sami gets out of it. Zayn goes for that patented Blue Thunder Bomb, can't get Reed up for it.
Which he never really gets the 3 on the Thunder Bomb. You know what I mean?
That's like more the signature move, I also like that Takeshita in AEW is using that move as well. He does it way better in my opinion. But anywho, shots fired. Pop, pop, pop. Zayn turns his attention to Gunther, and this is where he messes up, man. That's where Bronson grabs him. Zayn then tries to lift Reed, but falls under his weight. He cannot get this guy up. This is not Hulk Hogan, brother. He's not picking up Andre the Giant, dude. Reed connects with a twisting suplex for a 2 count. Reed then chops Zayn in the corner. Reed's nose is bleeding a little bit here. I don't know how that happened, but he's got a bloody nose. Reed then puts Zayn on the top rope, but Zayn fights back with a tornado DDT. Zayn looks at the Ring General and charges Bronson Reed, but Bronson Reed just turns him inside out with a clothesline.
Yep.
Reed crushes him with a senton splash, and Reed heads to the top rope. And it's nothing but daisies and daffodils after that point, guys. It's the Tsunami. 1, 2, 3. You're a winner of this match, and he needed a win. It's Big Bronson Reed.
Sami Zayn loses a match before his match against Gunther at WrestleMania, which is a weird look. Honestly. It's very weird to see that. But
I think Bronson needed a win, though. He was starting to look like a jobber. You know what I mean? That's believable to have Bronson Reed beat Sami Zayn.
I don't know if I think there's too much talent around Bronson Reed for him to ever pop that big.
True that.
I feel like he's a mid-carder. He could be a mid-carder. There's plenty of mid-carders that have made great careers in the WWE and have been that way their entire careers.
Look at guys like Badass Billy Gunn.
Billy Gunn.
Solid mid-carder.
You got Hardcore Holly.
Absolutely. Dude was solid
Doink
forever.
The Clown.
Miss him.
There's a lot of them, man, that have just, never been
They never hit
biggest,
the big time, brother.
They're remembered, and
they're absolutely remembered.
They had great careers. So
absolutely,
it's like, you give them the Intercontinental Championship maybe a couple times.
Yeah, U.S. maybe even.
US
and a couple tag team title runs, and they call it a career.
I think there's got to be something a little more to Sami Zayn losing before WrestleMania.
Yeah,
it's kind of weird,
Gunther got involved.
He did have a high hand.
So now it's main event Jey Uso. And he's saying that Nakamura's been sleeping on him for too long. Tonight he'll get woke, he says. And then who arrives next? It is Solo Sikoa and Jimmy Uso walking up to Jey. And Jimmy says, and I quote, "No yeet." and he laughs before walking off. More build up towards their WrestleMania match. And then Pat McAfee is breaking down the Becky Lynch punch on the telestrator.
Which is great.
I love that he's doing that. The slow motion was showing that really she connected hard. And now Sami Zayn is flipping out, guys. He's flipping out backstage. Gable comes up and tries to calm him. And Zayn says he knew what Gunther was doing and still let him in his head. How did he let that happen with everything that is at stake right now? Gable says that this is what Gunther does. This is the Ring General's game.
It's really an interesting segment because honestly, it looks like Gable is offering his services
some assistance, right?
It's like okay, none of us believe that Sami Zayn can beat Gunther for the world championship, for the Intercontinental title at WrestleMania, but could he do it if he went through the Alpha Academy and he learned more through Gable?
Yes.
This is interesting.
Gable's the master. They don't call him the master
This is
for
really
nothing.
interesting turn. I
like it.
Everything's falling into place for WrestleMania. This
Absolutely.
is just part of it, really.
It 100% is. And Zayn is, one of the best Gable has ever been in the ring with. Gunther is trying to break him down with doubts. He wants to make him doubt himself. So that way he's easy pickings for the Ring General. If he's going to get to WrestleMania with his hand raised at the end, he's going to need a different approach, guys. If Zayn is ready for a different approach, he says, then they can talk. And at this point, maybe Sami Zayn's going to have to take that extended offer, if you will, from Gable. Now we're backstage at the gorilla position. Main event, Jey Uso is pacing around in the gorilla position. World Heavyweight Champion Seth freaking Rollins comes up to him and says something just doesn't feel right. You know, the vibes are weird, man. Rollins says that he and Cody Rhodes got you back, though. You know what I mean? It's time to get that W. And then Jey yeets his way out to the entrance ramp. He comes out, makes his entrance first. Huge, huge entrance for him. Jey Uso is really popping. And then you get heel Shinsuke Nakamura comes out, and he's working almost every show. You know, he's the heel to wrestle right now.
He really is.
On these shows, he's the heel that everyone's getting. You know what I mean? And the match between these two was pretty good. Shinsuke always has a good match. So, you know, main event Jey Uso can only elevate that. And, you know, Jey and Nakamura continue to take it to each other. You know, they wipe each other out with kicks. And, you know, remember when they said something wasn't feeling right, Mike? They were right.
They were.
Jimmy Uso and Solo Sikoa come through the crowd as you would expect, but they're cut off this time. They were ready. The American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, and World Heavyweight Champion Seth freaking Rollins are there to help. You know, they're there to come to aid.
Let's go.
Rhodes and Jimmy are brawling to the back now, and Rollins takes out Solo Sikoa. Drew McIntyre is here now, and he attacks Rollins from behind, sending him into the ring post, and actually hits him with that Future Shock DDT. At ringside. Back in the ring now, Jey gets out of a rear naked choke from Shinsuke. Jey hits a sleeper slam on Shinsuke and then hits him with that patented super kick.
The sleeper slam.
The sleeper slam. Yeah, it's pretty dope. So he hits him with that super kick, and Jey actually wins this match with a spear.
Yeah.
Which I love that he's using that right now.
He's coming into his own part of it.
He is. Main event Jey Uso. Now
he really does look like a main event.
He does. Absolutely. I could not agree more. All in on main event Jey Uso. We then pan back to backstage. We see Cody Rhodes rolling out with Jimmy Uso, and Rhodes sends Jimmy Uso through a door to the outside of the arena, and Solo Sikoa now runs in, but Rhodes stops him. And after that, it begins. Here is the final boss.
Oh boy.
The Rock. He shows up and he is in a nasty mood. He is absolutely ready to go, and he just starts mopping the floor with Cody, guys. Yeah. And it's not looking pretty. At one point, The Rock, you know, he's throwing him into barricades backstage, and Cody's crawling on the ground, I guess. And, you know, The Rock's also you know, flapping his lips the entire time at him. Huh? Look at your boy, Mama Rhodes. Look at your boy. You know, and at one point, The Rock grabs a toolbox that he just sees, you know, out in the open and just dumps it on Cody. I thought that was funny.
He's going, as I like to say, ham sandwich, not
Absolutely.
to be confused with banana sandwich.
Absolutely. He is going crazy on Cody right now, and Cody does not stand a chance. And you know, it moves
Sadly,
to the other side of the room now, and The Rock then pushes Cody outside of the arena. Okay, he pushes him right out the door, and then The Rock turns back to the cameraman. He's like, "Chicago, this is perfect. Look at this. This is perfect."
He knows what he's doing.
Oh, he knows, and he's just, you know, this is Chicago, Illinois. All right, in March, and it's cold. It's raining. He then rips Cody's shirt off of his back and sends him down, falling into puddles.
Yeah.
You know, Cody is getting, you know, he's getting branded, if you will.
That's rough.
By the final boss. And, you know, every other word The Rock's saying is getting bleeped out at this point because The Rock is just cussing up a storm, you know, and it's getting really, really bad, you know, and the Rock is now kicking Cody's ass near Cody's own tour bus at this point.
And you're seeing Easter eggs in the background.
And that's what I'm getting at. Yes, you are seeing now. If you look at the camera frame with the final boss, you are going to see production trucks in the background with two of the final boss's biggest rivals ever. The production truck not only has John Cena's face in the frame, the production truck has Stone Cold Steve Austin's face.
Yes, it does.
As well. And there's
also seen Brock Lesnar in the background.
You know, and as I was saying when we were talking earlier, if they really wanted to, they would have put the WrestleMania trucks there. You know, I feel like that was there for a reason. little Easter eggs like that in wrestling you got to, pay attention to. And, so put that aside. The Rock is kicking ass. He then sends Cody into the bus really, really hard a few times, right into the bus door where the picture of his dog Pharaoh is. And it's not looking good for Cody Rhodes right now. And The Rock takes the camera and pulls it up towards him. I assume Cody's bleeding during this. He wants the camera off of Cody. Cody is out of frame.
So you're saying he's bleeding, right?
He was, he's busted open. Okay, The Rock is talking to the camera while Cody is busting himself open. So it then goes back to Cody, and you see that he's bleeding like a pig. All right, and this is when The Rock starts to just go into this insane mode that I've never seen. He's telling the cameraman to get closer and closer to Cody, to see the blood.
So now we can talk about what The Rock whispered.
Yes. Before we continue, he's bleeding now. Mike, what The Rock whisper to Cody Rhodes?
It was pretty obvious. If you look back on YouTube and watch his lips, you can tell he says, "Tonight, I'm gonna make you bleed."
There you go, guys. And The Rock made good on his promise. He absolutely opened up Cody Rhodes, and now he's calling the cameraman in closer. The Rock's now getting more sick and sadistic rather at this point. He's like
in the rain.
This looks like a scene out of a mob movie or something. And the final boss says he has a gift for you, Mama Rhodes. He has a gift for everybody, and he pulls up his shirt and he takes off the belt that he was speaking about. Yep. It is the Mama Rhodes, Cody Rhodes weight belt, and it says Mama Rhodes on it. And it's got the Brahma Bull logo right in the middle. And he says, Mama Rhodes, the final boss, is a man of his word. He said he was going to put your son's blood on this belt. And when he did this was shocking, to be honest with you. The Rock then takes his bare hand. All right. He takes his bare hand and starts smearing the blood off of Cody's face and his head onto his bare hand. And this is like disrespectful as hell. The Rock then takes the blood and smears it onto the Mama Rhodes weight belt, as he said he would, and he's talking to Mama Rhodes the entire time, on the camera.
So blood is officially back.
It is.
In WWE.
Blood is back, guys. And if the final boss is to thank for this, then thank you, Rock, because we got blood back now, and he's really heavy, and he's obsessed with smearing the blood all over this.
Where was this when ECW came back?
Yeah, right. He's obsessed with sparing Mama Rhodes' son's blood on this Mama Rhodes belt. And then he pulls Cody in close, and he's like, that's what you get when you fuck with the final boss. And the whole crowd went nuts because on the screen in the arena, they did not bleep that out. The Rock really just dropped the F-bomb, and Cody is broken. Cody is beaten. He's battered. He's bruised. He's just laying there lifeless in the rain, and that is how we end Monday Night Raw, guys. I cannot tell you the last time I saw a segment that good and that intense with so much investing to be had in it. Shout out to The Rock and Cody for that one, because that final boss segment was one for the ages. I feel like we're going to be talking about that one for years to come.
It was extreme. It was wild. It was a
never
awesome
seen
scenery.
anything like it.
There was Easter eggs in it. It was really exciting capping segment for the road to WrestleMania.
Absolutely. And that is going to end. This was a long talk about Raw, guys. That is going to end this Monday Night Raw coverage. We appreciate you sticking with us. And right now, we're going to get it over to my main man, Mike, for some NXT coverage. Let's go.
Here we go, NXT fans. It is Tuesday night. It is NXT for 3/26/2024.
That's correct.
And the show opened up with Dijak coming out to the ring. He came out with his black and white Sin City entrance that I kind of like the style. I wish he was a little more interesting sometimes.
I've been seeing some signs on Raw and stuff that keep saying push Dijak. Have you seen those? People are bringing signs to main roster shows that are saying push Dijak.
So, wow.
Yeah, I'm here for it.
Yeah. I mean, I could see it, I guess. But it's Dijak versus Sean Spears here. And then Sean Spears comes out with his entrance and all that with his chair. Comes out with the chair.
Yep.
So
That same
Dijak,
presentation.
yep, Dijak with some surprising high-flying moves in this one. To the outside of the ring, Dijak seems to overpower Spears a bit in this match. Sean eventually gains some control but fails on a suplex off the top turnbuckle and ends up getting Dijak back into a position but fails again. Joe Gacy pops up under the ring
This
and takes
guy.
the chair away, which is kind of funny. Dijak with a huge Kane-esque clothesline off the top rope,
I
which
like
was
that.
mentioned by the
I
announcers.
like that. Yeah, you don't see that much.
Yeah, Dijak goes unhinged, goes for the choke slam, but fails. A quick pin by Spears, but Spears blocks a special move attempt after that. Huge sitting choke slam on Spears, kicks out again, but Dijak gets him with the feast your eyes for the 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, that's all she wrote, folks.
Dijak beat Sean Spears, so Sean
That's a
Spears
big win.
putting Dijak over a little bit.
That is a big win for sure.
Now we have a Roxanne Perez promo. We all know what's going on with her and the champion right now.
Oh, yeah.
Valkyria. She goes through her career, through the promo, says she's doing it her way now. She's not holding back. It feels
Right.
good. Says Lyra is holding her title and she will get it back. Same thing she's been saying for a while, just more
Yep.
long.
Just
and
gotta back it up
drawn
now.
Out. Multiple NXT stars auditioning for a host of Stand and Deliver. When Andre Chase comes out of the office and says he nailed it, and that's the end of the story. It actually hits the sign up sheet out of the guy's hand and is like, it's over.
Yeah,
I won it.
see you later.
He seems to think he won it. I don't know if he did. But Jasmine Nix and Thea Hale are facing off in this next matchup. Of course, Jasmine Nix is the friend of JC Jane that Thea was very, very jealous of. That's now pretty much JC Jane's best friend instead of Thea.
Yes.
And we've learned now that JC Jane says that, I was never your best friend or whatever the case may be, but we're going to find that out shortly.
The drama.
Not to spoil too much. It's going to get juicy. Thea comes out at Nix with speed and anger. She's a little firecracker. She gets a big suplex. Nix has her run. She has a nice leg lock. But she occupies Hale with a submission move for a while. Thea knocks down Nix, however. And then JC Jane is on the mat. And Thea turns to JC Jane and says, I thought we were friends. JC
Right,
says,
this ain't cool.
We were never friends.
Ooh.
Slaps Thea into a roll-up by Nix.
That'll do it.
But Thea kicks out and goes right into an arm submission for the win, beats Nix.
No way.
At the end, they
Tapped
jump
her
her,
out.
though. But Kalani Jordan and Fallon Henley come out to the rescue. It's a pretty good scene there. And then we have Alpha Academy backstage lifting
thank
weights.
you.
It's normal Alpha Academy hijinks. They're getting ready for their matchup to see if they can beat the Wolf Dogs, gain a spot to make it a triple
That's a
threat
tough team to
tag team
beat.
match for Stand and Deliver. Now we have Lola Vice Open Challenge. Natalia comes out. So now it's Lola Vice versus Natalia.
Nice.
Natalia gets Lola to the outside of the ring for a beating, but quickly back inside, Natalia seems to be on the offense and in control. But Lola comes back with her hands and quickness. She's got those really quick strikes, and it's pretty cool to watch. Out comes Carmen Petrovic to distract Lola. Another pin into submission spot. Natalia gets Lola Vice on a quick pin, and that's that.
Boom, your winner,
Carmen
Natalia.
comes out to really, mess things up for Lola Vice. There's a little bit of a rivalry going on there to watch here.
Okay.
We'll keep our eyes on that. Sean Spears talking about Gacy being on his radar now. Yells off the roof. Gacy yells off the roof, sorry, Sean, and throws the chair off the roof at Sean. But, before, I'm not like he was throwing it at him, just back to him. And he said, I forgot to give this back to you. And, he's laughing, and it's the chair.
Dude's a maniac.
He cost him the matchup because he took the chair away from him.
Yeah.
And then it fades out. Then it's Stacks backstage with the family. They're getting ready
The
for
family.
his fight tonight with Ilya Dragunov.
Oh, that's a big one,
which
too.
should be a really cool fight.
Absolutely.
We're looking forward to that. So now we have Sol Ruka recovery video outlining her rivalry with Blair Davenport, and she calls her out saying she's going to make her feel pain and snatch her soul because her her special move is the Soul Snatcher.
The Soul Snatcher.
So
Yeah, it's only right that she snatches your soul.
Then it goes to Blair Davenport right away. She says that, Sol Ruka's just a beach bum, cool girl, and annoying and disgusting, and promised to re-injure her. Now we have Channing Stacks versus Ilya Dragunov. I believe this is a non-title match. Nothing was said about a title, so it leads me to believe no title was on the line.
Yeah.
Stack holds his own, actually really well. It's a back and forth fights between the two. Stacks is pulling off huge tornado DDT, big German suplex by Dragunov, and then a torpedo by Dragunov at the end for the pin.
Guy don't quit, man.
So, it was a back and forth fight. Channing looked like a real competitor, but then at the end of the day, Dragunov pulled off a really cool torpedo for the 1-2-3. Now backstage, the Don tells Chris Tofino to invite Dragunov for dinner. Trick Williams promo after that, introducing his family in Philly, going over some highlights of his life. Another promo basically pumping up Trick versus Mello.
Yeah, that's that Stand to Deliver, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's
and
the
now
big
we
WrestleMania
have the
pay-per-view.
big somber boo-hoo promo. Ridge Holland comes out. He wants to thank everybody in his career. Everybody claps. Everybody cheers.
Yeah.
He's about to retire. Goes on and on about the comments out there about, people talking about him since he's done with it. And he says that he's officially stepping away from in-ring competition.
After breaking Big E's neck, you kind of think this might be serious a little bit, but,
maybe he's finally going to just hang it up. Maybe not. I'm hearing not. We'll see. You heard it here on The Source, first and foremost.
Boom. It is kayfabe, guys. I have pretty reputable sources like No DQ and others that are saying that this is just a work. It's just part of his storyline, so don't freak out, even though... wouldn't be a massive loss with all the talent going on in NXT. Am I right?
Yeah, I don't really see how he fits in as it is, but
he got demoted to NXT basically.
Yeah. Either way, we're gonna move on from that. It's a Lyra Valkyria promo talking about famous superheroes, but focusing on Roxanne Perez, of course, saying her time has passed and that she will end up keeping her title at Stand and Deliver. So they're having pretty cool promos back and forth, pretty well cinematic. Filmed promos. It's actually pretty cool. But then we have
camera angles have been crazy lately. They have.
Mm-hmm. Now we have Duke Hudson versus Josh Briggs, the big Josh Briggs. Josh Briggs starts off strong, beating Hudson into the corner and taunting Dijak at ringside.
Dijak was on stones to be ringside. Doing that, huh?
Hudson with a series of moves, and they go to the outside of the ring briefly. Josh Briggs gets him with the huge clothesline and then gets him up with a follow-up lariat for the 1-2-3.
And that does it.
Josh Briggs takes the victory from Duke Hudson of the...
it's a win. It's a good win for him.
Alpha Academy, I was going to say. Of Chase U. Now, Dijak comes out to the ring for a stare down, but so does Obafemi. And Dijak asks for a triple threat match. We fade out. Metaphor backstage controlling production and says they are hosting Stand and Deliver and no one can do anything about it. They're the ones.
Okay.
But then out come the Wolf Dogs, and we're going to now see what we've been waiting for the whole episode, the Wolf Dogs versus Alpha Academy.
Yeah.
But it fades back to Ilya Dragunov.
Is he at dinner?
Nope, backstage, banged up.
Oh, he's hurting.
Stacks was a really tough fight. Chris Tofino comes into the room with an invitation from the Dawn.
There it is.
Now, the Wolf Dog versus Alpha Academy. And when I say Alpha Academy, and Tozawa and Otis.
Oh, thank you.
Against Baron Corbin and
Braun Breaker. Next level Braun Breaker.
Corbin and Tozawa started off. Otis tags in, evens things out a bit. They even get the Wolf Dogs outside the ring, and Otis throws Tozawa out of the ring onto the Wolf Dogs. Which is a pretty cool spot.
Dude is a monster, man.
The Wolf Dogs gain back control. Corbin beating Tozawa up and tagging in Breaker, who delivers the biggest three against the ropes clothesline, I call it. He goes against one rope. So the other, he's full speed, clotheslines through him, basically. Tags in Corbin.
He's looking great lately,
who has a huge toss. So he tosses... Braun tosses Tozawa into Corbin's arms.
Okay.
And he slams him down. It's a pretty cool spot.
Nice.
Otis gets tagged and he starts turning the tide. Starts slamming both
he is the
Baron
tree
and Braun
trunk
at the same time. He does like a slam where he picks them both up and slams them at the same time. We're talking about two top NXT stars here. So one of which is a SmackDown star, isn't he?
Yeah, Braun Breaker.
Yeah, we'll see when that ends up happening.
It has been. He's had a few matches just squashing guys.
Yeah, but he's still heavily involved in NXT.
Absolutely.
So when are we going to see the complete transition?
Yes, it has not happened just yet.
Yeah. So Otis gets Braun on his shoulders, and Tozawa jumps off the top rope, but somehow Braun counters it. And Braun and Corbin put Otis through the announcer's table.
Oh, wow.
So that subdues Otis. Now he's
done.
out of the a big double team powerbomb. And, there's a huge spear on Otis as well. And then Braun gets the 1, 2, 3. The Wolf Dogs win. Otis and Tozawa do not get their chance to go against them at Stand and Deliver. It will stay just a regular tag team match for Stand and Deliver, which is cool. But out come the LWO to talk to Wolf Dogs. Then the Good Brothers come out to size everybody up.
Let's go.
But then out of nowhere, they're really playing the speed campaign they're on. Axiom and Nathan Frazier blow by everyone and just like attack everybody in the ring.
So
and
it's just chaos.
It's
now.
mayhem chaos. And it literally fades to the chaos in the ring.
That's awesome.
So
that's awesome.
that's your NXT review. You heard it first on the source. Probably not because it's a couple days removed. But hey, here we are.
We got a lot of wrestling to cover, guys, but this is going to end the NXT review. We like to thank Mike for bringing us this NXT review every week. I do not have enough time to watch the show, so he's the real MVP at this time, and we appreciate you sticking with us as we transition and get ready for a big episode of AEW Dynamite. It's Wednesday, guys, and you know what that means. It is AEW Dynamite, March 27, 2024, from Quebec City, Quebec, Canada. And to start this show, we start with what was, in my opinion, a 5-star match. We had Katsuyori Shibata versus the aerial assassin, Will Ospreay, and he's been on a run right now since he came to AEW. This match, guys, was unbelievable. Lots of strong style wrestling here. Lots of crazy moves, crazy counters, flips and kicks and punches, and you name it. At one point later in the match, Ospreay goes for the hidden blade, which I love that move, and it's evaded by Shibata, who locks in a sleeper hold. Ospreay goes for the ropes, but gets taken down with a sleeper suplex. They're really bringing out some really, really nice newer moves here. Shibata, who went against Daniel Bryan last week, Bryan Danielson, rather, has been a mainstay in New Japan, IWGP, all these places, so he's established. He locks in a sleeper hold again, and the ref checks on Ospreay, and Ospreay, it's not looking good. It looks like he's fading. He wills himself back in the match. He before his arm goes down for the 3, he catches it with his other arm, and the crowd is back into it. He gets Shibata set up on the ropes for a leg drop, and he follows with the Os Cutter. And if you guys didn't know, he gives Cody a hard time a lot about stealing the Cody Cutter. It was the Os Cutter first, and Cody makes it look much prettier. When Ospreay hits it, it's more devastating, and it looks like he's breaking his opponent's neck when he does this.
The Cody Cutter, isn't that originally the Final Cut by Goldust?
No, the Final Cut is different. Final Cut is more like front face lock move type deal.
Okay.
Really cool move that Cody does do. But the Cody Cutter and the Os Cutter are pretty much one and the same. The springboard off the ropes to the cutter.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
I'm thinking about the Final Cut, different move.
Yep,
okay.
different move. So
carry on with our lives.
we can move on now, guys. Ospreay hits the Os Cutter.
It's good we clarified that.
Absolutely, we
case anybody was
gotta
thinking
talk
like I
about
was.
this stuff. Ospreay hits the Os Cutter. Shibata kicks out at 1, and the crowd just goes nuts. We got some furious strikes coming in from Shibata, but Ospreay fights back to land a back suplex. An uppercut connects, but it's only a 2 count on Shibata. Now here comes one of my favorite moves as well right now. It's the Tiger Driver 91 by Will Ospreay, the aerial assassin, and then he pulls down that elbow pad, guys, and there's only one thing coming when he does that. It is the hidden blade. Hits him dead in the face with it. Ospreay picks up the win by pinfall 1, 2, 3. Your winner of this match is Will Ospreay, and he's rolling right now.
He's great
guys.
to watch, and he's definitely adding something to the brand.
Absolutely.
So let's keep
Absolutely.
it going.
Yeah, we'll keep it going. Next, we have a video package backstage with Bryan Danielson, and they're calling this, Mike, they're calling this the final year of his career as a full-time wrestler. You know, it's being put out in the open. So, you know, it kind of makes sense that he's going against, it kind of makes sense that he's going against Ospreay now, and he's having a match that, you know, we could only dream of at one point. And we go to another segment. It was earlier tonight. Renee Paquette, she's talking to the Young Bucks, Matthew and Nicholas Jackson, now as they're called, the EVPs, about their tag tournament match, later tonight. And with the EVPs running her down before addressing their goals for this year, so on and so forth, they're saying, you guys got to put some respect on our name. We retired Sting, he says. We restructured the Elite by bringing in Okada. And we look to regain our AEW World Tag Team Championships that we miss very, very much, but they have to do this by winning the tournament, of course. And they promise, though, that Lightning...
A lot of tournaments going on in both leagues.
Yeah, man, and I'm here for it. We need more of these things. It makes things interesting and fun, I would say. They do promise that Lightning never strikes the same place twice, so they will defeat Private Party later tonight. And then we cut to the parking lot now, where new AEW Continental Champion Kazuchika Okada has just arrived in his new Ferrari. All right, so he's doing great right now. He got paid, the Rainmaker, seemingly ignoring whatever call time is set for the talent. He shows up late. He does what he wants, I guess. We're back at ringside now, and the EVPs make their way to the ring for the next match. And out next are Private Party, looking to repeat an upset over the Young Bucks to move on in the tag team title tournament as this match gets underway. And this match was very good. I really liked what I saw out of both teams. Private Party looked great. Young Bucks looked great as always. We then go later in the match now, and Nicholas grabs a ring bell from outside, and the ref stops him. Okay, and as Matthew hits Quen in the little solo cups, as you say, the family jewels, with a low blow, cover made, but Quen kicks out, and now Zay steals. He sneaks the title shot to head for the cover, only for Matthew to kick out at 2. And then a very poorly done EVP trigger. They botched the move. There was a "you fucked up" chant. They got the win regardless, but they botched the move.
Oh, wow.
It was
big. You're competing right now for ratings, and you're going to botch moves? You got to be perfect
I
right
know,
now.
and this is their finishing move.
And not only, there's botches that happen all the time, and most are unseen and unknown.
Yeah, and sometimes it's unavoidable.
Have the crowd yelling it, come on, Tony Khan, get it together, get your training together.
Absolutely.
What's going on?
Yeah, so they botched the EVP trigger. Needless to say, they still win the match. And after this, we get a little video package, a little look at Konosuke Takeshita ahead of his main event match later tonight against whose house? Swerve's house. It's Swerve Strickland later tonight on Dynamite. And back in the parking lot, an SUV pulls up now. And it reveals who else but Mercedes Moné, who also missed call time apparently, by who knows how long. They're all showing up late. Doesn't matter. She's the CEO. She can do what she wants. And we get another video package here. It's Darby Allin. And he's at a skate park with Tony Hawk with a broken foot. And he's talking about, something they're doing where they're working together. AEW and Tony Hawk are working together to do some, they're going to start building local skate parks for families and kids who...
What does this have to do with wrestling?
It's just a promotional thing they're doing.
That's good.
They're you can go to skatepark.org, guys, and donate if you'd like, to help kids in local skate parks. And, at the end of this segment, Tony Hawk... drops in the half pipe and then does a plant move off of Darby's broken foot. Darby, he just can't stop. He's a glutton for punishment. We're backstage now, and Renee Paquette is talking to the handsome devil Hook and Chris Jericho about the proposition that Jericho has for Hook that he talked about last week. And Jericho talks about having respect for Hook after the match they had. He says he's absolutely championship material. And he offers, Jericho offers Hook any advice he may want. And Hook thanks him for the praise and says he will accept this advice. But he also knows who Jericho is. Jericho also knows who Hook is, he says, and this seems to be a tease, for a future combining and an alignment between the two. Lion Hook could keep going after this. Lion Hook.
They got the battle out of the way. So
absolutely, yeah, and the better man won. It was Hook that took him down with ease. Back at ringside now, it's the CEO. Mercedes
they're working her in a lot these days.
Yeah, man. She makes her way to the ring. Now she's doing commentary for this match. And, out first, it's Willow Nightingale, followed by Anna Jay and Chris Statlander. Rounding the entrance is Sky Blue. And this match goes underway to see who will become the number one contender for the TBS Championship, which is held currently by Julia Hart of the House of Black now.
Who's doing a good job.
She's doing a great job.
I think she might lose it soon. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, she's been the champion, I believe, since World's End. Don't quote me on this, guys, but I think it happened at World's End. She became the TBS champion, and I'm here for it. I love Julia Hart. Love what she's doing with the House of Black. Later on this match, Sky intervenes, taking advantage of some confusion, if you will, between them for a big kick on the apron. Sky is looking for a move on the apron now, but it costs her as Willow Nightingale drops her with a DVD, a Death Valley driver, onto the apron, and that looked devastating. The girls are really stepping up their game here. They got to hang with the boys, Back in the ring, Chris Statlander gets caught by Anna Jay for a near fall before getting taken down by a big kick from Anna Jay, who gets hit with the gut wrench powerbomb by Willow for the 1-2-3 pinfall. Your winner here and new number one contender for the TBS title. It's Willow Nightingale. But the celebration is short-lived, guys. Julia Hart appears out of nowhere and blindsides Willow with the TBS championship to the back, only for Julia to turn her attention to the CEO before regrouping on the outside with Sky Blue. And now we pan backstage. And Renee Paquette, she's busy tonight. She's talking to the Natural, Dustin Rhodes, about his matches in the past few months before the Butcher comes in to challenge Rhodes to a match at Rampage, and he's all for it. This is going to be a good match, guys. Rampage is really stepping up their game. They have to if they want that show to survive. So we're getting that match. And now we cut to a vignette. It's Timeless Tony Storm. The perfect combination in light of this change in attitude from the AEW Women's World Championship. The segment is centered around Ben Mankiewicz and Tony, and it's centered around Ben refusing to repeat all of Tony's catchphrase, but still a fun time filler before we take a commercial break. After the commercial, we have another video package. They're doing more video packages now, Mike, as you talked about. And, they kind of have to follow suit with that.
Yeah, they have to give it. It was all about the wrestling forever, and that was really cool. But you can't ignore
they've established
the fact that
now.
People need to be entertained with promos.
Absolutely. So we get a video package now. We're looking at Swerve Strickland ahead of his match tonight with Konosuke Takeshita, the Alpha. With the winner of this match being set to be ranked number one contender for Samoa Joe's AEW World title. And back at ringside now, it's the Best Friends. It's Orange Cassidy and Trent Beretta. They are making their way to the ring for our next match. The Undisputed Kingdom come out next, and this is the AEW Tag Team Championship Tournament quarterfinals. It's the Best Friends versus the Undisputed Kingdom. And this match went hard. It really did. All four of these guys really, really know how to wrestle, man, and especially Orange Cassidy. I can't say enough good things about him. Trent Beretta looked great. He catches Bennett with a near fall. Catches Bennett for a near fall from Orange Cassidy, and the Friends go off to build up momentum with a tag to Beretta before trying to give the people what they want, but Roddy Strong intervenes. Spike Piledriver gets stopped, and Beretta gets the pin for the win. Winners via pinfall, and advancing in this tournament, it's the Best Friends, Trent Beretta and freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy. So they're moving on now in this tournament.
Yeah.
This
might be like we said. Orange Cassidy.
We did talk about this.
Get new gold.
The Sorstradamus, if you will. And the best friends look to celebrate by giving the people what they want again, but the Young Bucks didn't want any part of that. They headed out there, heading to the stage to stare their fellow semifinalists down ahead of their match set for next week. And backstage, it is Renee Paquette, again very busy tonight, talking with Kyle O'Reilly about getting a big win in his return to AEW. And Kyle addresses the deep roster in the company and continues to insist that he will go to it alone and prove where he belongs. And now we have yet another video package, and it's Adam Copeland. It looks like they filmed this right after his crazy I Quit match, his TNT title win. And he's talking about, Mike, this is a night he's going to take to the grave, beating Christian Cage in Toronto in this I Quit match for the TNT Championship, which he says this is his first championship in over a decade, I believe it was. His first singles championship in over a decade.
Yeah, but he did win it recently as well.
He did, yeah, but, that was the same night.
Yeah.
Within 5 minutes, it was gone. And Adam Copeland is saying that the Cope Open is back in business now. He's going to get out there and he's going to give everybody a chance at this TNT title. And he says he does not plan on losing it. That's for sure. And after a rundown of what's to come on the upcoming week on the card so far for AEW Dynasty, their next pay-per-view, we head back to ringside for our main event of the evening. This is the AEW World Championship #1 contenders match with Swerve Strickland versus the Alpha Konosuke Takeshita. And
what a matchup.
My God.
Wow.
This is where AEW gets me, man. Like, with these two guys, you have Swerve, who is just rolling right now. He's
cool.
Hot. And you have the Alpha Konosuke Takeshita, who is one of the best wrestlers I've seen in a very long time. And what I really liked here was a nice touch. They both started this match off with a handshake. It was kind of reluctant, but they did it, and I think it needed to be done. This match, man, back and forth moves I've never seen either of these guys do sometimes. There was a reverse Hurricane Rana that looked like Swerve may have landed flat on his head, and it looked really, really tough. And Prince Nana's out there trying to get Swerve back into this because Takeshita's just putting on a clinic at some points. And, he's trying to will Swerve back into it. And it does happen. Swerve gets back into it. And Takeshita now sends Swerve to the corner looking for an avalanche Blue Thunder Bomb from the top rope. That would have surely put Swerve out, I believe, because Swerve already got hit with a Blue Thunder Bomb in this match. And going back to when I talked about Raw, Takeshita hits the Blue Thunder Bomb better than Sammy, in my opinion. He has way more rotations in it, and it looks like it hits much, much harder. So he tries to hit this avalanche Blue Thunder Bomb, but Swerve then stops him, only to miss the Swerve Stomp. And Strickland then evades another Blue Thunder Bomb, sending the Alpha face first onto the turnbuckle before landing the house call. He finally hits that, and one more Swerve Stomp should do it as Strickland gets the cover, right? Nope. Takeshita kicks out of the Swerve Stomp.
Wow.
Like, dude, this match,
Of the Swerve Stomp of all things.
Yes, he kicks out of that, and we got that this is awesome from the crowd. Both men are back on their feet, and a big headbutt from Swerve, followed by a big knee from Takeshita. But Swerve hits another stomp, and followed by the stomp is then followed by big pressure from Swerve. And he tried hitting this move. He tried executing this many times during the match. Konosuke Takeshita would not let it happen. He then finally hits big pressure on Konosuke and gets the win. Your winner via pinfall and new #1 contender for the AEW World Championship. It's his house. It is Swerve Strickland. That is huge. It's the right move. He is.
Now give the man some gold.
He's white hot right now.
I get it. I feel like they had to, give Samoa Joe at least a few months with the championship.
Yeah, he's got to solidify
he
that.
He had a big triple threat match, won it.
Yes.
Now he can lose it.
Now, I absolutely agree. Could not agree more. Swerve is celebrating here, and we cut backstage where Renee is with Samoa Joe now, title over his shoulder, looking confident, and the champ is warning that Swerve is not the man, he says, heading into their title match at AEW Dynasty. Back in the ring, Swerve continues to just celebrate. The show comes to a close. I think they did a really, really good job picking the right guy to win. Hats off to Takeshita. That guy is one of the greatest that I've seen in the current wrestling world, if we're talking about it. Shout out to both of those guys. Shout out to Ospreay. Everyone who had a great match. Shibata. What an episode of Dynamite, guys, and I'm here for it. I can't wait to see where they go next to continue this road to AEW Dynasty. And this is going to end this portion of AEW Dynamite. Thank you guys for rocking with us. We really appreciate it. And before we go, we are going to give you a little bit of what we always give you. Yeah, it is on this day in wrestling history. Let us talk to you.
On this day in wrestling history, we have our notable wrestling birthdays.
Bring it to us, Mike.
We have one birthday, and it's a cool one. It's actually Michael P.S. Hayes, who once was a wrestler, of course, turned into commentator, turned into announcer.
Yes, he was part of the free. He's done it all,
and
he was part of the
also
Freebirds
Gorilla position as well.
Absolutely, he has worked in Gorilla for a very long time. He has worked with all of the biggest stars backstage for a very long time. We'd like to wish a happy birthday to Freebird Michael P.S. Hayes, a wrestling legend. And on this day in wrestling history, this is what started it all for me, Mike. This was it. On this day in 1998 at the Fleet Center in Boston, you were in attendance.
I was
You
there.
were one of those 19,028 fans that were at WrestleMania 14 with another 730,000 watching worldwide, which included me sitting on the couch with my mom and dad to watch Stone Cold Steve Austin go against the Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels for the then Winged Eagle WWF Championship. My favorite match.
13 years old.
My favorite match of all time. I was a bit younger. I'm a little bit younger than you. I was sitting on my couch with my mom and dad, and I was the world's biggest Stone Cold fan and still am. And, when he hit that stunner and Mike Tyson came in to count the quick three, that was the, to quote good old JR, the Austin era had begun.
Oh, absolutely.
That night. And on this day in wrestling history, that happened. And also that night, another match that I loved. This was the first time we saw The Undertaker and Kane in a singles match against each other.
On this day, that's crazy.
I know.
As well, on this day in wrestling history, 1979, the Worldwide Wrestling Federation, WWF, officially rebrands as the World Wrestling Federation.
Wow, that's
WWF,
a big one.
Of course, WWE now. That's, a pretty cool thing. We have a somber one, too, kind of a,
Is it 2013? On this day in wrestling history in 2013.
Yes.
Reed Flair, and I can go into this a little bit. Reed Flair, the son of Rick and the sister of Charlotte Flair, was found dead at the age of 25 years old following an accidental drug overdose. And we're from Rhode Island, guys, and Reed Flair actually wrestled here in Rhode Island quite a few times for the XWA. It was a friend of mine's company, and he was on the rise. He was on his way up. He had the same type of in-ring technician skills that his father had. This kid could have really been something huge, and unfortunately we've heard Rick talk about it many times, and it's hard to not get all teary-eyed and choked up. Reed could not battle his demons with drugs, and he had overdosed many times before, and unfortunately on this day in wrestling history, the wrestling world lost Reed Flair before his career could even really get going. A potential very big superstar, yes.
As well, on this day in wrestling history, we get a bunch. 1999 in East Rutherford, New Jersey, on WWF Monday Night Raw, Goldust pinned Road Dogg to become the new Intercontinental Champion for the third time. And I mentioned this because we talked lately about how titles used to change hands.
And there you go.
On Raw and SmackDown, and here's your example.
Absolutely.
It's exciting. I want to see more of that.
You'll never forget the name of Goldust. what a day. Honestly, what a day in wrestling history, because in 2015, WrestleMania 31 was held at the Levi Stadium in Santa Clara, California, where the 49ers play, who Mike just whipped my ass with in Madden, by the way.
I did.
We're not going to talk about that. WrestleMania 31, 76,976 in attendance. That is a packed house, I would say. Just a couple people there, and an estimated 1.3 million people watching at home.
Oh, wow. And also, on this day in wrestling history, 2021, on Monday Night Raw, The Miz and John Morrison released their new single, Hey Hey, Hop Hop.
Oh,
so that happened
my
today
God.
as
That
well.
happened today as well.
So much,
Guys,
so much.
what a day in wrestling history. I'll end it with this one. In 2019, the PCW Ultra Wrestle Summit was in Wilmington, California. In a three-way tag match, it was Jacob Fatu, which you wonder where he's going to come into this bloodline. Jacob Fatu and the Almighty Sheik became double champions with both the Defy Tag Team 8XGP titles and the PCW Ultra Tag Team titles, beating the teams of Dan Maff and Sean Donovan and Jarrell Nelson and Royce Isaacs. And in the main event of this night, Mil Muertes took the PCW Ultra Heavyweight title after defeating none other than Shane Strickland, who is Swerve Strickland.
Okay.
Before he was Swerve. So that's going to do it for us, guys. We really appreciate you listening. It was a big day in wrestling history. This is going to end the Source Wrestling Podcast with Joe and Mike. And before we go, we would just like to ask you to please follow the show. It really helps the show a lot, more than you think, and it really honestly takes no effort. Just hit that follow button, guys. You know, you're listening already. Why don't you hit the follow button? Please rate the show. Do it, man. Right into us. Please rate the show. Please, it really, really helps us a lot here. I ain't too proud to beg now. The Source Wrestling Podcast can be listened to and found on Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music. Follow us on X. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on TikTok. Once again, you are listening to The Source, AEW, WWE, All Things Wrestling Podcast with Joe
And
Mike. Yeah.
Yeah.
And let us talk to you
Let us talk to ya.
next time. What do you guys want to talk about?